11. Kakashi vs. Zabuza. This was the first real fight that gave us a taste of what high-level ninja battles look like. Kakashi was forced to use the Sharingan, the mysterious eye that had been mentioned early on, but had never fully displayed its power. The moment he lifted that headband and revealed the glowing red eye with 3 tomoe was the true entrance of Kakashi the Copy Ninja. He used the Sharingan to perfectly copy and counter Zabuza's jutsu, move for move, and while Zabuza didn't technically die by Kakashi's hand, shout out to Gato for being the worst, it was pretty clear who won that one-on-one. For the first time, we saw Kakashi's eye in full action, copying Water Dragon Bullet, predicting Zabuza's every move, and even pulling off that psychological genjutsu trick where he finished the hand signs before Zabuza did. Total flex. This win didn't really shake up the world or change the course of the war or anything, but it did set the tone for Team 7's journey. Naruto learned what teamwork really means. Sasuke started showing off that spicy potential of his, and the squad officially stepped into the big leagues. This battle remains one of the most beloved battles because it is the fight where Kakashi affirmed his title as the Copy Ninja and gave us a sense of the combat system that Naruto later became famous for. 10. Neji vs. Kidomaru. Let's be real, this was Neji's best solo fight, hands down, and to be fair, this wasn't an easy one. Kidomaru was smart, sneaky, and basically the worst possible matchup for Neji. Kidomaru figured out the one thing you really don't want to hear if you're a Hyuga. He found the Byakugan's blind spot. Then he started spamming long-range attacks. Man kept his distance and made it almost impossible for Neji to land a clean hit. That final arrow went through Neji's chest. This fight had people sitting on the edge of their seats, legit thinking, yo, is Neji about to die? But then Neji turned the whole thing around. Even after getting skewered, he pulled off one of the smartest comebacks in the show. He realized Kidomaru's web threads could conduct chakra. So he let himself get hit on purpose, channeled chakra back through the thread, and hit Kidomaru's pressure points from a distance. Like, this is gentle fist we're talking about. It's not supposed to work that way. But Neji made it work. Kidomaru didn't see it coming. He got wrecked. And that was game over. This fight really showed Neji's battle IQ. He turned a weakness, being a close-range fighter, into a tactical win. Compared to Kakashi vs. Zabuza, this one had more suspense and a crazier turnaround. Both fights were smart, but Neji had to overcome a way tougher matchup, while Kakashi still had that Sharingan edge. 9. Rock Lee vs. Gaara. Now, real talk, Lee and Guy basically have the same fighting style, right? So most of the time, the story really just focuses on Guy. But in this fight, Lee got the spotlight. Even though he didn't win, this was one of the most unforgettable moments in the entire arc. I mean, a genin who only uses taijutsu going up against a literal Jinchuriki? On paper, this was supposed to be a stomp. People legit thought Lee was gonna get folded in 5 seconds. Gaara looked unbeatable at first. He had that automatic sand shield thing going on, so Lee's punches and kicks weren't doing anything. Like he was basically wrapped in plot armor made of sand. But then Lee dropped the weights. Literally. He took off his ankle weights, and they hit the ground like a mini earthquake. And that was the moment. The second he did that, Lee's speed went nuts. He turned into a blur. Then, Lee opened the 5th gate. Yeah, part of the 8 inner gates technique. His speed and power skyrocketed. And suddenly, the fight flipped. Gaara was on the defensive for once. Of course, Lee didn't win. Gaara was just too OP at that point in the story, but it didn't matter. The fight was iconic. It had hype, drama, emotion, and honestly, some of the best animation of the whole Chunin arc. 8. Sasuke vs. Deidara. One of the most brainy fights in Naruto, Sasuke vs. Deidara. This happened during the Hunt for Itachi arc, and it was less of a slugfest and more of a mental chess match. Sasuke, freshly buffed from Orochimaru's training, came in hot with his 3-tomoe Sharingan, lightning-style moves, and that spicy Heaven Curse Mark power-up. And who's waiting for him? Deidara, a literal explosion artist, and an Akatsuki member with bombs ranging from C1 to C0. The whole fight went down in an open field, with Deidara throwing bombs from the sky like a fireworks show gone wrong, and Sasuke had to constantly adapt to the shifting combat situation. You know, Deidara is an S rank, specializes in long-range combat, and on top of that, he trained his whole life just to counter Uchiha genjutsu. But Sasuke is smart. He figured out Deidara's clay doesn't like lightning-style jutsu and exploited that weakness fast. When Deidara dropped the C4 bomb, the nano bomb that attacks you from the inside, Sasuke used his Sharingan to actually see the chakra-level particles and summoned Manda and used him as a living shield to escape Deidara's C0 self-destruct. Now, in the end, Sasuke wins. Clean. He survived C1, dodged C2, avoided C3, countered C4, and tanked C0 with a summon. Don't forget, C4 was terrifying, kinda on par with Onoki's particle style, if we're being honest. Actually, this fight didn't really change the story that much, but it showed how far Sasuke had come. From a moody kid with a vengeance kink to a full-blown battlefield genius. 7. Jiraiya versus Pain. Now, we're talking about one of the most emotional, intense, and straight-up legendary battles in the whole Naruto series. It's Jiraiya, our beloved pervy sage, going head-to-head with Pain, the mysterious and terrifying leader of the Akatsuki. Jiraiya, with his sage mode, the ability to summon toads, and a wide array of techniques including fire style, wind style, and Rasengan, infiltrated the Rain Village alone to investigate and confront the Akatsuki leader. His opponent was Pain, considered one of the strongest characters in the ninja world at the time. And even though Jiraiya didn't technically win, what he pulled off was insane. He managed to take down 3 of the 6 paths all by himself. That's the kind of flex even the Kage would struggle with. But more importantly, he figured out how Pain's ability worked and sent that info back to the Leaf. And here's the wildest part. Nagato himself admitted that if Jiraiya had known the secret from the start, he probably would have won. This fight was on nightmare mode. Jiraiya was up against 6 coordinated bodies that shared vision and had insane chakra control. He was outnumbered, fighting in enemy territory, and only had 2 backup singers. 2 old toad sages, Fukasaku and Shima. And even when things went south, even when he got impaled, lost an arm, and was bleeding out, he still managed to figure it all out. That's Sannin-level greatness. From a story standpoint, this battle was huge. Without Jiraiya's intel, Naruto never would have beaten Pain. This wasn't just a cool fight. It literally shaped the future of the village. In terms of jutsu, we saw everything from giant Rasengan, sage mode combos, toad oil and fire style nukes, and even that sneaky genjutsu duet from the Toad duo. Jiraiya showed he was versatile, strategic, and powerful, right up until the very end. And if you're comparing it to, say, Kakashi versus Zabuza, yeah, no contest. Jiraiya versus Pain is on another level. It's bigger, sadder, and way more impactful on the main story. 9 out of 10. 6. Shikamaru versus Hidan. In a world where ninja battles usually mean flashy jutsu and over-the-top explosions, the fight between Shikamaru and Hidan hit different. It wasn't about who could throw the biggest fireball or summon the scariest beast. This one was a pure flex of brain power. Now, let's be real. Shikamaru isn't some powerhouse. He doesn't have giant Rasengans or eye-popping Kekkei Genkai. What he does have, though, a freaking IQ over 200 and enough strategy to put chess grandmasters to shame. And on the other side, we've got Hidan, literally unkillable and rocking that creepy voodoo ritual where he stabs himself and you take the damage. With 0 room for mistakes, Shikamaru pulled off one of the slickest plays in the whole series. He baited Hidan by pretending to be cursed, used Kakuzu's blood to mess up the ritual, and lured Hidan into the Nara forest, where his clan had been setting traps for generations. Every single move was pre-planned. My guy turned the immortal psychopath into a confused punching bag, and the ending was beautiful. Shikamaru blows Hidan to pieces, drops him in a hole, and buries him alive under the trees of his ancestors. Savage, clean, game over. This wasn't just a win. It was his win. It was personal. It was smart. And it was the moment we all saw Shikamaru step out of the background and become a legit tactician. Honestly, it stands out even more because as the series goes on, people start just nuking each other with massive jutsu. But here, one dude with a shadow and a game plan outsmarted literal immortality. 5. Sakura and Chiyo versus Sasori. This one was beautiful. So, fighting Sasori was a nightmare. The guy pulls out everything from a giant puppet body called Hiruko to the freaking third Kazekage puppet with iron sand that can shred through basically any defense and then casually whips out 100 puppets. Oh, and let's not forget, his own body is a puppet too. Basically, this dude is the puppet apocalypse. But what makes this fight so good is the teamwork. Sakura and Grandma Chiyo absolutely nailed the tag team vibe. Chiyo literally puppeteered Sakura with chakra threads like she was one of her dolls, helping her dodge attacks that would have wrecked any normal ninja. And when she busts out Manzemon's 10 puppets to face off against Sasori's army of 100, it was pure art. Like, if this scene doesn't get turned into a mural somewhere, I'm protesting. Meanwhile, Sakura isn't just there to punch stuff, though let's be honest, those punches hurt. She's actually thinking on her feet, adapting mid-battle even though Sasori has decades of combat experience over her. That's some serious growth right there. This whole fight gives us a little bit of everything. Deadly puppets, Kekkei Genkai in the form of iron sand, Sakura showing off her monster strength and agility, tactical mind games, insane coordination, and let's not forget, some of the coolest puppet warfare we've ever seen. This is a damn showcase. A perfect blend of brains, brawn, and ballet-level choreography. This right here is ninja combat as an art form. 4. Guy versus Madara. This one was another show-off moment, but this time, it's a solo show. This fight is pretty much a declaration of the raw power of sheer effort. Guy, a ninja who can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu, squares off against Madara Uchiha, who's already the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, rocking the Rinnegan and wielding the truth-seeking balls that can nullify any normal jutsu. Yeah, the odds were stacked against Guy from the start, but the result of this fight was one of the most mind-blowing things ever. Guy didn't defeat Madara completely, thanks to Madara's almost infinite healing from the Ten Tails, but he did something that even Naruto and Sasuke couldn't do at that time. He almost killed Madara. And guess what? Madara himself had to admit, "You're the strongest taijutsu user I've ever faced." Yeah, Night Guy did some serious damage to Madara. Honestly, if they'd added one more move like that, or if Lee joined in with the 8 gates and some kick action, Madara would be toast. This was a miracle when you consider that Madara had wiped the floor with the 5 cage, and even outclassed Hashirama. Guy managed to almost kill the guy who was practically a walking god. Now, the true genius of this fight lies in the ridiculous difficulty Guy had to face. Madara in the 6 Paths form was almost an unstoppable force, with truth-seeking balls giving him top-tier defense and offense. Guy only had one thing going for him, the 8 gates. A forbidden technique that gives you crazy power, at the cost of your life. That moment when Guy opens the gate of the 8th gate was iconic. Seriously, it's one of the most unforgettable moments in the entire series. His body's on fire, blood vaporizes into red mist, and every move he makes shatters the air around him. His power and speed are so far beyond any Kage that even Madara, who fought Hashirama and Tobirama, was left in absolute shock. Pure legend. Honestly, I'd rate this one a 9.5/10. No debates here. 3. Itachi versus Kabuto. Honestly, a lot of people sleep on this fight, but man, Itachi in this arc was MVP. Well, Itachi, with a little help from Sasuke, didn't just beat Kabuto, he forced him to undo his own Edo Tensei jutsu, the very technique that was giving the enemy side all their power during the war. The highlight of the fight was Itachi pulling out Izanami, a forbidden Uchiha technique, trapping Kabuto in an endless psychological loop and making him face his true self, forcing him to give up on his delusions of power. Now, don't get it twisted. This fight was not easy at all. Kabuto, with his Sage mode, had become an extremely dangerous opponent. He was using the abilities of all these powerful people thanks to his DNA implants. He could sense chakra perfectly, had a ton of different techniques like sound techniques, which could blind you, chakra scalpels, and even the ability to liquefy his body to dodge attacks. Kabuto was smart too. He used the cave terrain to his advantage and targeted the weaknesses of Itachi's Sharingan. On top of that, he even managed to counter Susanoo and Amaterasu, two of Itachi's deadliest moves. To be fair, the fact that Itachi was summoned by Edo Tensei was a big plus. Without that, it would have been much harder for him to defeat Kabuto. The impact of this battle on the story is huge. Undoing Edo Tensei removed a ton of powerful ninja from the battlefield, including former Kage and legendary characters. More importantly, it gave the allied shinobi forces a chance to regain the upper hand and keep fighting when they were basically on the verge of losing. I'd say this fight deserves a 9.5/10. 2. Minato versus Kurama. If you want to understand just how strong Minato is, just look at this fight. This battle was almost as difficult as it gets. Kurama, the strongest bijou, with nearly infinite chakra and enough power to wipe out entire mountains with a single bijou dama. Minato was juggling a lot at once. He had to protect the village under attack, Kushina was giving birth and weakened, and there was no time to plan or call for backup. Now, I wouldn't say it was a total win, but thanks to Shiki Fujin, he managed to seal half of Kurama's chakra into himself and the other half into Naruto. He saved Konoha and ensured that the future would be protected. A win in terms of goals achieved, even though the price was incredibly high. As for the impressive feats, Minato was on another level. His flying rage and speed didn't just outpace Obito's Sharingan. It was fast enough to teleport a massive Bijudama out of the village in the blink of an eye. He was faster than Kamui, landing a Rasengan on Obito, freeing Kurama from his control, separating the chakra, and sealing the Nine Tails with a forbidden technique. Want speed? He's got speed. Want skill? He's got skill. Want scale? Big enough. According to the databook, Minato's Flying Raijin is considered a one-of-a-kind technique in ninja history, allowing him to break all speed limits, while Shiki Fujin is the ultimate sealing jutsu, only usable by the most powerful ninjas. Kishimoto even revealed that he designed this battle to show Minato as the perfect hero, setting the emotional foundation for Minato's relationship with Naruto later on. Hashirama versus Madara, a battle between the god of shinobi and the god of war. Two of the strongest from the two most powerful clans in the ninja world are going head to head. If this fight isn't epic, then I don't know what is. Hashirama's victory was not easy. Madara was his equal, with the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, perfect Susanoo wrapped in the Nine Tails, and combat skills that surpassed everyone else back then. Hashirama had to bring out everything in his arsenal: wood style, sage mode, and his Biju control skills, just to keep up. The battle raged on for hours, completely destroying the land around them, and it pushed Hashirama to his absolute limits to beat Madara. This was a true clash of titans. In the end, Hashirama won. He didn't just defeat Madara, He completely broke his ability to keep fighting, and it was even believed that Madara died. Though later we found out Madara survived thanks to Izanagi. But what's crazy is how easily Hashirama controlled Kurama, showing just how much more powerful the older generation was compared to the younger one. In terms of strength and technique, this fight was the ultimate showcase. Techniques like Wood Dragon, Shinsusenju, and Madara Perfect Susanoo wrapped in Kurama were some of the largest scale jutsus in the entire series, even changing the terrain where they fought. Talk about flexing. When you stack it up against other battles in the series, like Lee vs. Gaara, Kakashi vs. Zabuza, Jiraiya versus his pain, and even big ones like Sakura and Chiyo versus Sasori, Itachi versus Kabuto, or Guy versus Madara. This one still stands above them all. It had the biggest scale, the most significant historical impact, and was perfect in every way. 10/10. And the main man, Naruto. He's been through countless epic battles that have defined him as a character. But if you had to pick just one fight that takes the top spot in your heart, which one would you choose? Comment below and let me know. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.